Welcome to Dan the Road Trip Guy. I'm your host, Dan, and each week we'll embark on a new adventure, discovering memory and life lessons of our incredible guests. From everyday travelers to thrill seekers and everyone in between, this podcast is your front row seat to inspiring stories of passion, resilience, and the pursuit of happiness. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. I've been looking forward to this episode for so long. I'm in the home of the Hasseys today with my guest, Roseann Hassey. Now, if you think back, that name may sound familiar because almost 3 years ago to this date, I took a road trip with Kevin Hassey. Roseann is a marketing and branding professional. She now teaches those young, inquiring minds at the University of Cincinnati in marketing and branding, and I'm just so excited to have you here, Roseann.
Dan, I am so excited to be here, although I feel a lot of pressure, with Kevin 3 years ago. But I'm going to do my best. I'm going to hold my own. And we have been trying to schedule this conversation for so long, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. Let's start out because my listeners may not know who Roseann Hassey is. Who is, and we like to say, Dr. Roseann Hassey.
Yeah, and I like to say I am a doctor, but if you're sick, I can't help you because I am a PhD in marketing, but I can help you with your personal brand. So just know that. But anyway, just to jump in with who am I? First of all, I'm a wife. I've been married for 39 years to our very own Kevin Hassey, who you got to know previously. I'm a mom of 3 grown kids. We have a daughter, 33, lives in San Diego, a daughter, 31, lives in London, and a son, 29, lives in Brooklyn. We raised our kids in the suburbs in Marymount, which is how I know Dan, and we became great friends. We moved, 8 years ago downtown to Cincinnati over the Rhine neighborhood, and it has just never gotten old. It's so fun to live down here. In terms of my career, Dan told you a little bit. I've had a career in marketing and branding. I started out at P&G. That's where Kevin and I met. I then worked at Reebok in their women's fitness businesses, and now I'm a professor and doctor at the University of Cincinnati in the Lindner College of Business. Oh, and I forgot, we have the cutest dog on earth, Mabel.
Yes.
And newest addition to the family.
All right. Thank you for that. And it just so happens this week, I was in a meeting at church and I'm sitting next to this young man and we were talking and he works at P&G now. And I said, well, oh, what do you do? And he's in brand and marketing. And I said, oh, we have a good friend who teaches at the university. And he goes, oh, who's that? And I said, Dr. Hassey. And he goes, oh, I love Dr. Hassey. So just really weird how small the world becomes.
Oh, my goodness. And how much I love my students. So
Yes, yeah. You do. So this is Dan the Road Trip Guy, Roseann.
Yes.
And I always have to ask, what was that first car?
Oh, my goodness. So glad you asked because it's a really funny story. And I sort of had a first car. My brother and I in high school pooled our money to buy an old used Honda Civic. And we put all our money in and we got this car. And I still remember it. It was brown. And we did a deal. And the deal was that he would get the car. He was a junior in high school until he graduated, at which point I would be able to drive and I could have it forever.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Great deal.
Great
deal.
There's that marketing early on, right?
Early on, I just had it. Except my brother got in an accident and totaled the car in high school. I never got to drive the car. I got my money back through the insurance, but it wasn't enough to buy a car.
Right.
And so we never had a car. And I always tease my brother about it. And he says, I'm really lucky that he's alive. And I say, but he is alive and I never got the car. Yeah, so that is my first non-car story.
Yeah.
It was a brown Honda Civic. I don't remember the year, but it would have been mid-70s.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's still, to this day, I love Hondas. The old Honda Civic was more like what's now a Honda Fit, a little compact, almost coupe.
Yeah.
And I love that car that I never had.
Well, now I'm surprised you're driving a Mini Cooper today instead of a Honda Civic.
You know what? It looks kind of like the first Honda Civic, and I have driven Hondas and Toyotas, every car until now. Yeah. But now, if you saw, Dan has seen our back alley. which is as narrow as a car wash. I mean, it is a moment. We needed a tiny car to get in there. Every time I pull in, I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel, because I have to get through and to the driveway.
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty scary when we
it's
come and
scary
visit.
back there in a
Yeah,
normal size car.
it is.
Yeah,
Yes.
glad to be in my Mini.
All right, your family's traveled a lot. You've traveled a lot even
Yeah.
with your teaching. Epic road trip in your life? Maybe
Um,
when you were young, maybe
yeah,
with the kids, maybe with Kevin.
maybe.
Yeah.
Gosh, so many epic road
I
trips.
just need one for now.
Yeah, okay. If only one, then when our oldest daughter, Meg, moved to California, she and I drove out together. And so we drove from Cincinnati, gosh, through Minnesota, the Badlands, the Tetons. Then we went up into the Columbia River Gorge and Portland and down to the Oregon coast into San Francisco. Not only did we have an incredible experience together, but we learned so much. We still talk about it. The thing we talk about is through that road trip, we learned just how vast this country is. You know, going from the edges of the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, you just go through land. And both of us talk about how we understand better some of the diverse politics of the moment because the needs in our country are so different. If you're in rural South Dakota versus even urban Cincinnati.
Right.
I think we thought rural was driving from here to Columbus. We thought that was rural because it is.
There's not much out there.
Yeah, there's not much out there, but it turns out there's whole states like that. And then separate from just the people and the vastness, the Badlands. If you ever get a chance to visit the Badlands, I don't know, have you and Linda?
Not yet. That's another road trip.
They are close to God.
Yeah.
They are just so beautiful. And you feel the native people there. You feel how close they were to the land. Then waking up, we couldn't find some place to stay when we were getting towards the Tetons. We didn't have places to stay. We just kind of rolled with it.
Right.
But you can't really do that sometimes. So we had to sleep in the car at like 2 a.m. We gave up finding someplace, slept in the car and woke up to the Tetons. And they were magnificent.
Yeah.
And then coming down the Oregon coast, just beautiful, beautiful, unpopulated beach after beach and wilderness. It was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
So that would be it.
Yeah. We all love the East Coast. It's great. But if you haven't experienced a drive out west and the West, you just have no idea how vast it is.
Incredibly so.
Yeah.
That was a trip. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So you are a professor at the University of Cincinnati. You worked at P&G. Did you wake up one morning when you were a little girl and go, hey, I'm going to be a marketer? When did that moment come that you decided, nope, this is what I'm going to do?
I believe that moment came when I was offered a job. So I graduated.
Well, there are those moments.
Right. I graduated from college in 1983. It was a tight market.
Yes. Oh, I graduated in 80.
2 or 3.
83, yes.
So you
Interest
remember.
rates were through the roof.
The whole thing.
Everything.
Everything happened. I want to be clear when you ask like a marketer, what I wanted to be was an art history major.
Okay.
And I still to this day love art.
Yeah.
Visit museums whenever I can, take in galleries, admire artists, have no talent in this area, but love it. And my dad was very clear, first generation Italian, that I would be majoring in something that was employable. So I minored in art history. I majored in economics. And I knew I had to get a job and support myself. That was a clear dictate of my family. Anybody that would interview a marketing major, an economics major, I would interview with. And I was just complete. I ended up with 3 very different offers, and I think you'll understand why I became a marketer.
Okay.
I could have worked in insurance. Although exciting
for
field.
Some people.
Yeah, for some people. Exactly. And honestly, the man interviewing seemed to think I would be his administrative assistant. And that was a little concerning. Then the second offer was in a bank. And again, great industry, but not my passion project. And then I got an offer from P&G. I knew nothing about marketing, but I did know from the interviews, I didn't know anything going in, that two things. One is it seemed fun. It seemed like you worked making commercials and on products, and the people were fun. They seemed like a good fit. I didn't know a soul here, but I'd moved around a lot as a kid. And so it was the best of the offers, number one. But number two, I did a lot of things in college where I ran things I was really passionate about. And it turned out that brand management, the reason P&G hired me was that brand management was a lot like the organizations I was engaged with and ultimately ran in college. And so the work was a good fit. And so both of those things worked out. And I ended up here in the lovely Queen City.
Yeah.
At
P&G.
At P&G, yeah. So I woke up that moment when I got the offer, and I said, yes, I will come.
Yeah. What was your first job at P&G?
Worked in brand management on Top Job floor cleaner.
Yes. I believe you were on Top Job, and Kevin was Mr. Clean.
Yeah, Top Job and Mr. Clean got married. Isn't that so exciting?
That's crazy.
So crazy. And on our 10th anniversary, they combined the brands. And I still have it in a lucite box it's over there in the corner. Kevin, for our 10th anniversary, lots of women want diamonds or gold or whatever, but I got a lucite framed box containing the combined Top Job Mr. Clean brand, because it was really a reflection that P&G believed in us so much that they combined those businesses. Wow. And I still, to this day, that's one of my favorite gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long were you at P&G?
I was at P&G maybe 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And
then I went to business school.
Okay.
Kevin was...
Oh, where did you go to undergrad?
I went to Duke University.
Oh, my gosh,
I'm so
Duke
glad you asked,
University.
because you know what? It is basketball season. My favorite time of the year. I bet there are Kentucky fans listening to this podcast.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. There's nothing that I like more than some good basketball trash talk. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to get back into my home state now.
Exactly.
By having a Duke
Dan,
person.
exactly. You know what UK is? UK is Duke without the first letter and the last letter. It's incomplete.
Honestly, I never thought about that, but thank you for that. So you went to Duke, yeah. And then you went to business school.
I did. I went to Harvard Business School in Boston. Kevin was moving to Boston, and we were engaged at that point. Okay. And I knew from working at P&G that I really did like this business of branding. Okay. But I also knew that most of the people at P&G that I worked with had MBAs and just broader knowledge, a breadth of knowledge than I had. And so I wanted to just grow that knowledge because I knew that I would stay in this place. Sure. So I went back to school for a couple years, and then went on and worked at Reebok from there.
Reebok. See, I'm learning things here I didn't even know.
Oh, really?
So you worked for Reebok?
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Oh, that is so funny. Yes, I did. Actually, one of my favorite things I've done. I started there when they were just leaving their startup and moving into their growth business. Okay. And you all remember, I'm a runner. I've been a lifelong runner. So I went running this morning. Back in the early 80s, late 70s, there were no women's shoes. Women wore men's shoes, 2 sizes too small. Sure. So I always had shin splints. I always just had struggles running. And Reebok invented, it's crazy, the woman's sneaker.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Who knew that?
Crazy. Who knew? I knew.
No idea.
I knew that. And I got to run their core business, which was their aerobic business. Keep in mind, back in the day, they invented aerobics
when
with
was
that.
This?
89.
Oh, wow.
Into past when Meg was born.
Yeah.
Sure. And they were growing like crazy. And I ran the women's teams. And we transitioned when I joined the company, it was pretty male dominated. The thinking was that women worked out for the same reasons men work out, to sweat. And I was like, no, we work out for really different reasons. We work out for our mental health and how we feel, and we work out to connect with other people with that gym class experience. And so we transitioned the business from a sweat equity business to a women's mental health and physical health business. And it was just an incredible space and time. Yeah. And the team was all women. And we grew it from this aerobics business to include all of indoor fitness and equipment. And we went from based here in the U.S. to global. I traveled the world. Got to spend a lot of time in South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, mainland China, Thailand, and then some in the Eastern European countries.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting and very different than P&G.
So Nike was chasing basketball and you
Yeah.
guys were
And
chasing women's.
when we worked there, we grew bigger than Nike. I still remember the day it
Look at that.
happened.
Wow.
When we surpassed Nike, the other thing that you wouldn't know, Dan knows, but you wouldn't know from this podcast, is that I'm a very small woman. So I'm 5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And the day I went back from work to work after maternity leave, we had just signed Shaquille O'Neal. And so I got my picture taken with Shaq.
Oh.
And he is much larger than I am.
That's cool. I would like to see that picture sometime.
Oh my gosh,
We're gonna
somebody
have to
else
see it.
asked. I have to find
You
it.
have to find
I
it.
have to find it. The entire company wanted me in the picture because I was most likely the smallest woman there.
Sure. Yeah. But that's interesting that they went down the women's route, because if you think about men, even when they go work out, they don't really care how they look either.
Right?
I mean, they got this mismatch of clothing, but I know my own wife who works out, it's coordinated. Now, she's a fashion
It's
lady,
an outfit.
so it's an outfit. So not only am I going to feel better mentally, but I'm going to look better.
good. Well, and interestingly, though, back then, and until pretty much until Under Armour came in the business, it was about the shoes. And then you threw together at the end really quickly an outfit to go with them. But it wasn't until Under Armour came into the business that technology entered the apparel, and that changed the whole world.
Yeah.
And then obviously Lululemon made us all style in the gym, and beyond.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah.
Nice. So you've been in marketing pretty much your whole career. You're teaching young minds today. We've all heard AI. What's the impact, in your opinion, of AI on marketing?
That is a great question, because the impact on business is vast and changing so quickly. I mean, I would say as much as the impact has been, we don't even know what it's going to be. It has affected a lot of the entry-level jobs as a professor.
Sure.
A lot of that early work of research and early iteration, AI can do and really compress the time frame of a job. So the job may not have gone away, but you may need less people in those jobs.
Sure.
And it's really changed the skill set from someone who, it used to be an early job was pretty repetitive. You did the dirt work that nobody else wanted to do. That was your job. And you did that until you got promoted to the next job that was a little more interesting. But AI does that work. And so the people now that really succeed are truly learners and critical thinkers, people that are just willing to grow and change and try to stay up and ahead of what's coming. The other part of that question, though, because certainly, the thing that came before AI was social media. That changed the business from traditional advertising to social. It's been in flux for a while. The thing I try to emphasize for my students is that the fundamentals actually have not changed one bit.
Okay.
Marketing is a human business. Your job is to deeply understand a human, what their needs are, and how you can help them. And that has not changed one bit.
Sure.
And if you skip over that and jump into whatever's hot at the moment, I want to be clear, social media has gone well beyond a moment and AI will not go away. But if you jump into the what, you miss and shortchange the business in those deep connections with the people who ultimately you're partnering with around a business or an opportunity.
Sure.
So I look at it, and I actually, from my days at P&G, the reason that marketing is probably a good fit for me is that I grew up loving to read. I just love stories. And I would get into the stories and I could imagine the characters, and those are my favorite stories. And that's what branding is. It's storytelling, and it's really loving those humans and their quirks and what matters to them. All of that has not changed one bit.
Right.
And I feel like my career, if I could call it successful, at least it's been joyful, has been from those moments of really understanding that other person and how I can help them and what their values are, and sharing those values and then growing from that point.
Right. Well, and it's interesting you say that. AI great tools,
Mhm.
but we're all built for relationships.
Mhm.
And if those go away, I don't know how that ends.
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
I was just reading an article on that,
Yeah.
and how AI and lots of technologies are meant to take the friction out of our lives. But the thing that matters are those frictions. Those are the interactions with actual humans or doing things that don't go quite well, and we have to figure them out. And it's interesting and it's valuable and it's, what makes up a life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks for
Thanks for
sharing.
asking.
I
Yeah.
learned things today that I didn't know. So that's cool. I said early on, your family has traveled many, many places,
Yeah.
and we've had the opportunity to travel with you once. But what's your favorite place that you've ever visited?
I'm always thinking about this because when you travel, sometimes there's places that you go back to many times and they become like a second home. And then besides that, you're exploring and you're always moving forward. And so it's really rare for me to want to go back.
Hmm.
But a couple places that I would want to go back to mainly are in the outdoors.
Sure.
So we had the opportunity to hike the Dolomites, the Italian Alps,
Okay.
just hut to hut, like not going to just being in this beautiful space day after day after day. And the views were the Tetons on fire.
Wow.
Another place we went was Norway, and it was so just gorgeous. I know you've been. No,
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 no, you were
no.
left behind.
People always go, "So where are you traveling to next?" And I'm like, "I am not.
I'm not, but my wife
My wife
Linda
is.
and my
She is.
daughter
Yeah.
are. So we spent some time in
Mm.
southern Norway, and I would love to get up to where Linda and Lauren, your wife
Yeah.
and daughter, went
Yeah.
because that just looks phenomenal. And then a couple memories. I don't know if I would go back because I don't know if they could ever be matched. But I remember in Kenya waking up because of the time change at like 3 in the morning and going just down to this open camp and watching the sun come up as the animals were on the horizon in the Serengeti,
Yeah.
like migrating to water. And just seeing that as the sun came up, the giraffe families and the elephants, and it was, to this day, can take my breath away.
Sure.
And then as a kid, I was just fascinated with ancient history. Our son had a little bit of a Greek phase. I had more of an Egyptian phase. And seeing the pyramids,
Mm.
things like that, you think, oh, will they really live up to your imagination? And they exceed it.
Yes.
I can't believe that they were built at a time without machines and they've stood the test of time. It's incredible. And they're on the outskirts of Cairo. In your mind, they're in the Sahara somewhere, but they're
Right.
not. They're on the edge of a major city. They're like on 275,
Yeah.
just hanging there,
Just hanging
which
out.
is crazy.
Mm.
So yeah,
Well, cool.
some great travels.
Good. Imagine for a moment that you can take a road trip with anyone, living or deceased.
Mhm.
Who would it be? Where would you go? What would you talk about?
To confess to the audience that Dan did share this question, and I love this question, and I had to think about it because a road trip is an epic experience.
An adventure.
It's an adventure. And I started out with someone that it turns out I learned as Dan and I were chatting before this podcast that we both had been to the John Batiste concert. And it was incredible. And he is an incredible, joyful, spiritual, talented man. So I started with John.
Yeah.
But what I realized as I really thought about it is that I need a minivan. I'm having a collection and we're going on a trip and it is going to be so fun.
Wow.
So John's in the van.
Of course he is.
Super excited to have him. Then I put Viola Davis
Yeah.
because she's wise.
Yeah.
And I want her wisdom in that van to balance out John. And I think the two of them together would be magic.
Oh.
But we're not done yet because I wanted Amy Poehler from A Good Hang.
Yeah.
Because, she's sort of not my generation, but close and funny and a different perspective. So I put Amy in the van before I added Barbara Kingsolver,
Okay.
one of my favorite authors, who also grew up on a farm in the rural United States and has a perspective. She's left-leaning, but very much understands a rural right mindset.
Okay.
And I think that would be so interesting to have her in the van. Plus, she wrote this book where she lived off the land for a year and cooked. It's a cookbook and also a journey of hers.
Okay.
And I love to cook and I love to eat what's fresh and local in the moment. And so having her for that too. Oh, and her daughter went to Duke. Did I mention I went to Duke?
There's that Duke again.
Oh my gosh. And then finally, I want my friend Lisa Shelley to come.
Okay.
Because she's a good friend. We admire many of the same people. She's also fun and funny and knows me.
Okay.
And knows how to give me a hard time. But also, this road trip is going to be so epic. We're going to want to talk about it. I mean, when it's over, those memories I want to share with someone. And then I want to say for Kevin and Lisa's husband, Stu, that I know you're disappointed you're not in the van.
Well,
but I think the van needs to stop somewhere so they can have a meal with us.
Yeah.
Because we want everyone to know them and we want them to have some of the fun, but then we're getting back in the van.
Yeah, back
and
in the van.
We're taking it on. So thank you. I'm excited for this road trip. It is going to be epic.
Well, I'll reach out to some of those folks and see if we can line this up.
I'm sure they've heard of me. Not.
Everybody's heard of Dr. Hassey. We'll have to do some more marketing.
Yeah, a lot.
We
A
need
lot
to
of marketing.
Dr. Roseann Hassey.
And the epic road trip.
Yes.
Maybe that, it's a extension of the Dan the Road Trip guy.
It could be.
And then we keep filling the van up and going on rides.
Absolutely.
Another product in the product line.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. More on that. What's on your bucket list?
What's on my bucket list? Well, we're going to Japan in April.
Yeah. So that's on your bucket list.
Yeah. So that's been on my bucket list. Never.
Never been
Never
there.
been and cannot wait. You know what's on my bucket list, Danielle?
What?
Oh, I want to throw this out because I'm sure that our kids will be listening to this. Grandchildren are on my bucket list. Come on.
Hassey kids. Going on. Hey, one got married this year.
Yeah, we had. Thank you for asking.
What a beautiful wedding.
Dan was there and it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was a favorite memory.
Yeah, it was magical.
It was magical. As a parent, I don't think you can know until being in that moment what it's like to know your child has met their person.
Right.
And you're almost handing them off and you're so content that you know they're okay. It was that.
Yeah.
It was also joyful and fun and magical, but just the piece of it was incredible.
Yeah.
So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And back
Good
to those
bucket list.
grandkids anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And travel, of course.
All right. We're almost to the end of our trip here.
Okay.
Actually, we're not on a trip. We're sitting here
right in
beautiful
our house.
OTR. It's a warm morning here in Cincinnati, a little damp. Leave my listeners with some advice. Advice on living a better life, living a life on purpose, whatever comes to that marketing mind of yours.
Yeah. That what's so funny about it is that it is marketing, but it's just life. It's about the people. It's always about the people. It's only about the people.
Right.
Often you think it's about you, but it isn't. Everything you are is with the people around you. And so focusing on that, it even comes back to our AI, and AI is not people.
Right.
That a life of intention and intentionally living with others creates a life that's meaningful and matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing replaces that.
Nothing. It doesn't. And it gives you great memories and things to look forward to, like our dear friends, the Neals.
Right.
Right? I mean, we have great memories.
We have great memories, and we'll create some more.
And we'll create some more.
Yeah.
Oh, and just so the fans know, Linda and I always beat Dan and my husband, Kevin, at cards. So just know that.
Yeah, we sort of let them, but
that's what they say.
Yeah, that's what. We're winners, though. We're all winners.
We're all winners. It's about the people.
Roseann, this has been an absolute pleasure for me. We've been trying to do this for probably a year.
It's been so fun.
Kevin was episode 22, I believe. I looked up this morning.
What is this?
This is going to be like 97, 98.
Bringing you over into 3 digits.
Dan, the road trip guy, has continued, hasn't stopped.
Awesome.
So here
awesome.
we go.
We'll keep it going.
So I don't know. I usually let people say, this is how to find me, or how to find a charity or a business, whatever you want to throw out there. We like to do that.
Nice. Well, let's see how to find me. You can always find me through University of Cincinnati's website. Last name's Hassey. The email's there, so you'll know.
Cool.
Charity, though, our son Steve, we didn't talk about it, but he works for the World Food Program,
Didn't know
which
that.
is a subsidiary of the United Nations. And they do a lot of work in Gaza, in Somalia, anywhere where there's a need and a hunger.
Yeah.
They do the work of getting the food there.
So, and do
so
they
that-
depend on us people
No,
to...
in fact, the U.S. subsidiary of the World Food Program, which is where Steve works, is only run through private donations.
Okay.
And so anyone that can give to those causes, I would highly recommend. Probably follow them on Instagram and on, I don't know if they do TikTok, certainly on LinkedIn, but on Instagram, follow them, especially because our son does a lot of that work.
Oh.
Locally, Keep Cincinnati Beautiful is a board that I'm personally involved with.
Okay.
And it does a lot of the work around urban environmentalism in the city, whether it's cleaning up parks or building playgrounds or partnering with neighborhoods.
Nice.
And so the work they do, it's a really small staff because it's volunteer driven.
Sure.
And so whether you give money to Keep Cincinnati Beautiful or you actually volunteer in one of our cleanups or doing something that we're doing, any of those ways to get involved is a great way to continue to have pride in the Queen City.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Roseann.
Yeah,
This
you're
has been a
welcome.
blast.
It really has. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you for tuning in to Dan, the Road Trip Guy. I hope you enjoyed our journey today and the stories that were shared. If you have any thoughts or questions or stories of your own, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. Don't forget to share this podcast with your friends and family and help us to spread the joy of road trips and great conversations. Until next time, keep driving, keep exploring, and keep having those amazing conversations. Safe travels. And remember, you can find me on the internet at dantheroadtripguy.com.